It's your boy Neal back with another reaction video, guys. Here we are with I never saw these 10 things before moving to Germany. Before we jump in, y'all know what I need y'all to do is smash that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, get a video a thumbs up so it gets suggested. You guys got a favorite video suggestion, you can subscribe to Patreon or drop it in the comment section. Talk to me, Jenna!
You might be caught by Ordnungsamt and given a stern talking to. I really love it. Hello you guys and welcome back to the Life in Germany channel. I feel like we've turned a new leaf today. If you can see, the sun is shining and I'm rocking my spring wear. Totally embarrassing, moms. Oh my gosh, what have I done to myself? Anyways, you guys, my cousin has been here for 1 week. I did plan on filming a video with her. I had a couple of very interesting topics that I wanted to talk to her about, but time just got the best of us. I also love it when I have Canadians come visit me in Germany because they kind of like bring back the old me and the old memories that I had and all of these crazy culture shocks that I first experienced. There are so many of us over here on YouTube talking about how fast the Autobahn is. How do you deposit your bottles here in Germany? Germans can be quite grumpy, you know, these are very common culture shocks that people mention.
Facts. I've seen a lot of videos where these culture shocks are mentioned.
Also, windows, bed sheets, pillows, you know, toilet buttons. All of these things are very, very common. But I started realizing that my cousin and I weren't even talking about those things anymore. She's been here 3 or 4 times now. So she's also starting to notice some of these really interesting, intricate things that are just simply different. So you know that song like, Kiss me another mistletoe. Well, did you know that mistletoe is actually a parasite? I learned this for the first time in Germany because funny enough, in the winter, a lot of the trees actually have this mistletoe parasite in them, and not just one but plenty. I always have a fun time telling the Canadians because when they visit here in the wintertime, that's the first thing they notice in all of the trees. The trees are barren, they have no more leaves on them, and all you see is these massive bunches of mistletoe throughout the tree. What they're doing is they're actually sucking out all of the nutrients and the water from the trees and essentially sucking the life out of that host plant. While it's not so nice, it is something interesting that I learned here in Germany, and it is something that you see common here. So the next time you're visiting in the winter, or if you didn't know, now you know. You know what else I find?
I definitely did not know that. So that's how mistletoe just sucking the life out the tree. Give me all the nutrients. Give me all the water. I want it all. Just sucking it all out. I definitely did not know that.
So the next time you're visiting in the winter, or if you didn't know, now you know. You know what else I find really, really cute? When we have breakfast restaurants in Canada, we often have salt and pepper in the center of the table. Also, we usually have them pre-packaged in those little packets. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Here in Germany, a lot of the time, whether you're at home, somebody's hosting you at a restaurant, you might actually get your own individual salt shaker. I just think they're so cute. I'm pretty sure we have them in North America, but it's very common here that you might actually notice it as soon as you get here. And you know what else I haven't seen?
I haven't seen it yet. Yeah, we probably have it. I haven't seen that. Your own personal little salt shaker? I haven't seen that.
Before moving to Germany, online interactive language courses. Wow, look how smooth I am at introducing today's sponsor. But seriously, maybe it's the fact that I've been here almost 9 years in Germany, which means times have probably changed, or the fact that I wasn't serious enough to actually learn a language past perhaps a few games in an app. But nowadays, there are so many different ways to learn a language that suits really everyone's need. Let me introduce you to another amazing language learning option, and that is italki. So I figured we'd jump behind the scenes today so you can actually meet my amazing teacher, Antonio. Since one-on-one lessons are the fastest way to fluency and I love live lessons, I went through a huge selection of teachers on italki who speak pretty much any language you can think of, and was able to find one that not only worked for my budget, but who also had this same positive, outgoing, exciting energy that I need in a teacher. I looked over Antonio's profile, I watched his intro video, I immediately was like, okay, this is my guy, and then I booked my first trial class in Spanish. But I will save that news for another day. But the thing that I love most about the italki classes is that they actually offer you 30-minute classes as well. So So if you're like me and you have to somehow squeeze a class in while the baby is taking a nap, or you only have maybe a short lunch break at work, on italki there's also absolutely no commitment. So you can go through, you can pay per lesson, and some teachers like Antonio also offer discounts if you join a package course with them. So if you want to find your Antonio or a teacher that is the perfect match for you, and you want to check out italki as a language learning tool, as always, I will leave the link down below so you guys can go check it out. All right, what else?
I usually do skip the sponsors, but I kind of wanted to see that one because I'll be trying to learn Spanish, but it's tough learning a new language. Like she said, I do think one-on-one classes would be a lot better than trying to learn through an app. And just I feel like the best way is to just immerse yourself in a country full of Spanish speakers, or in a place full of Spanish speakers, and I feel like that's the best way to learn as well. So I try to learn, and I can I can understand a tiny bit if you talk really slow. But yeah, I don't see myself getting fluent through an app. I just don't.
As always, I will leave the link down below so you guys can go check it out. All right, what else have I seen in Germany now that I never saw before I first arrived? Alcohol in public. This was probably like the most exciting thing for me when I moved here. That sounds so pathetic. I'm not a big drinker, guys, but just the idea of having this freedom and being able to sit on the Rhine and have a glass of wine, or along the Mosel, and just enjoy it. Just simply enjoying my time, not having to go to a restaurant and overpay for a glass of wine. That is luxury. Like, this is such a nice experience, and I never take it for granted. And I have to say, it wasn't something that I was like shocked about when I saw it here in Germany. I actually was relieved almost. I wouldn't say that like people in Germany could go running around and drinking their face off because they have this option or this opportunity. So I think it's rather nice. And because people often drink alcohol in public, or perhaps juice, soda pop, whatever, you name it, I also experienced this bottle system where you don't necessarily have to throw it in the garbage bin. You can actually leave it on the outside. Now, I mentioned this in a recent video about things that aren't true, when someone mentioned that it's legal to litter because you're leaving a bottle which has a monetary deposit on it. But this is something that I had never seen before, and I find really interesting because you're actually paying this 25-cent deposit on a plastic bottle, for example, and then if you're too lazy to bring it back, well, you can leave it for someone else who's willing to collect that bottle and collect the 25 cents. It's great for people looking for a little bit of extra pocket cash.
That's so dope, bro. That's so dope. Shout out to Germany and their system of recycling. They got it down to an art. It's so great.
I also experienced my first barbecue in a public park. Now, this isn't always legal here in Germany, but that's not to say that it doesn't happen frequently. You cannot have barbecues everywhere you would like, especially in the summertime when it gets really, really dry. You might be caught by Ordnungsamt and given a stern talking to. I really love it. I love being able to sit out again by the water, in a park, outdoors, and enjoy some wine and some picnic snacks. Well, the snacks part's not illegal. It's more the barbecue, like the actual grilling of meat, which we used to do probably 3 to 4 times a week in the summer when we used to live in the inner city, and we would do them in like really small public parks. And we weren't the only one. Like, there was tons of people doing it, and everyone was so nice and playing frisbee or football or whatever, and it's just such a nice experience. And I had never seen this before I arrived in Germany. Another one I'm still not used to constantly seeing, but I actually really love, is the condiments in a tube concept here. Like, you can get mustard in a tube or mayo in a tube, which really it sounds disgusting, but it is rather practical. And
I can't see it being disgusting. It's just it's in a different form of getting it. Instead of a jar or a packet, it's in a tube. It just sounds like a different way of getting your stuff,
mayo in a tube,
condiments.
which really, it sounds disgusting, But it is rather practical, and it takes up a lot less space in your fridge if you don't need a massive container of it. But I had absolutely never seen this before I came here, and I genuinely thought that was like the toothpaste aisle the first time I went.
I can see that, yeah.
And when I was in the grocery store for the first time, I also noticed that the eggs and the milk are out of the fridge. I know I've mentioned this one before, but this is one that really took me by surprise. I had seen it once in Peru and then realized it was a common occurrence in other countries that I had visited, but it really kind of hit me, and I really dived into the topic and tried to figure out why is this the case. We all know that in Europe, people often ride bikes a lot more than in North America. I wanted to ride bikes with my cousin last week, and she was like, Jenna, I don't know how to ride a bike. Although not everybody in Canada doesn't know how to ride a bike, many of us do. We usually ride bikes as kids, and then game over. We don't.
That's facts. I rode a bike and I don't know how long, but you know the saying, it's just like riding a bike. You just hop on and you know what to do again. It's simple. It's a bike. No problem. No problem.
Many of us do. We usually ride bikes as kids, and then game over. We don't really ride much more after that. In Canada, you do need a car to get around, so getting from point A to point B, taking a bike isn't really always an option. So for us, the opportunity to ride a bike is rather limited. But not only do people use them here to get from point A to point B, but what I also had never seen was that they were using bikes to deliver mail. I thought that was the coolest thing. I think that's the first thing I ever filmed in Germany. So cool. And then now obviously you have it for like food delivery, medication delivery, everything. I love it.
Oh, wow.
All right, I'm bringing two more to you today. One thing, I think maybe this is probably unique and nobody's ever mentioned this before, is that the emergency services here in Germany, the people are really, really young. I'm talking like ambulance, like Notfall vehicles and police officers and anyone really in this space. I find them to be very young and kind of good looking. But they're very, very young, and that actually got me really nervous at the beginning, and I was like, oh my god, what if something happens to me, and they're going to be too young to take care of me, they don't really know. Like, even my brother-in-law once drove an ambulance, and I couldn't even imagine him, like, coming to save my life as a student, But they are trained to deal with certain situations, and if you are in a very critical condition, then what I learned was that they actually send a doctor along with that ambulance. I believe the vehicle says Notarzt on it, and it will follow the ambulance. And in Germany, when that happens, people are like, uh-oh, something bad happened. As I've been told, they are all trained. Despite the fact that they are young, I should not judge. And the last one, I had to throw it in there, guys. I have some sort of like weird obsession or like confusion about slippers here in Germany. I think I mentioned slippers or house shoes in every single video of mine now. It's getting a little redundant. But what I had never seen is that people here actually take their slippers from home, sometimes put them in their bag and bring it to people's houses. I know we constantly have this debate